All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ball Hawks podcast here on a very different time than we normally go live. First thing Sunday morning here. We have ourselves a big guest here, but before that, I think he might cry if I don't introduce him first. He's cried a few times. My right-hand man, Christopher, some might call him the Doc Emmett Brown of this show, Phillips. How are you doing today, bud?
Great Scott, Marty. I'm good, Steve. How are you doing this Sunday morning? I know we were talking a little bit off air there before we started that you and your daughter are battling a bit of a head cold, which of course all right before Christmas and while you're packing and getting ready to move house. So other than that, how you doing?
Yeah, it's a little weird. This is going to be my last episode in the OG crib here. I was afraid it was going to be super echoey in here because there's just a Lamar Jackson jersey hanging up and nothing else in the room. So that's a little strange. I feel so lost in my own space here. But we have ourselves an avid Seahawks fan. You might know him from television, possibly, if you have that thing called TV. He appeared on season 15 of The Bachelorette, and then the fans loved him so much they brought him back for his own season, season 24 of The Bachelor. We have Peter Weber here on the Ball Hawks podcast. How are you doing, Peter?
I am good, guys. It is great to be on here with you. I know we've been trying to do it for a little bit, but always down to talk football. And yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for joining us again. Do you want to just let everyone know where they can find you? Also, give them the heads up on your podcast that you run also.
Yeah, for sure. So on Instagram, that's mainly where I'm on social media wise. Pilot Pete, that's my name. And for our podcast, me and my roommate, we started a podcast a couple months ago called Bachelors in the City. You can find it, wherever you get podcasts, but pretty much just centers a little bit stuff, Bachelor related, some recaps here and there, but mainly just our lives, two bachelors living in the city, and our stories, our adventures, and all the craziness that comes along with that.
Yeah. Speaking of adventures, you just recently released a children's book, The Adventures of Pilot Pete. How did that all come about, and like what inspired you to write a book of all things?
I know it's funny. I think, a lot of people go on the show and it's kind of become a rite of passage. After you leave the show, you go become an author and you go, release some book. And I never thought that would ever be a thing for me. Honestly, I never saw that in my, my future pre the show, but it, definitely gave me an opportunity to kind of go down that route at first. There was thoughts of possibly doing kind of a Bachelor related kind of tell all type thing. But contracts don't really allow a lot of that stuff to happen. So then the conversation kind of shifted, and I didn't even have the idea. It wasn't mine. It was my publisher's idea. He's like, well, what about a children's book? And immediately the second he said it, I was sold. I was like, I knew exactly what I want to do with that. I want to share my first love, and that was flying, and hopefully inspire children to, whether it's flying or something else, just to go pursue whatever, their passion is, whatever their dream is, and chase that and never give up until you get it. And so that then quickly became the inspiration for the book. It was super fun to create. It was, an experience I never, like I said, never would have had, most likely without the show, but took about a year and a half because of COVID to kind of get it out. And it's been an absolute joy. Actually, I got off of Zoom just prior to this. I was doing a reading with some people for the book. So it's been really cool just to see it touch the community and get messages from children that, it's already been touching. It's been so much more meaningful to me than I really ever could imagine, truly. Like I just got a message it was like 2 nights ago, in this, this great young boy, and he's got autism, and he's kind of struggled with reading, and never, it's been a struggle with, I guess, his family, and he's been just obsessed with the book, and he's like read it over and over and over. He's been going to his favorite spot on the stairs, and they sent me like a video of him reading it, and I was just like, that is something I never in a million years could have expected, that feeling of seeing a child like truly just appreciate my book and really gain something from that. It was extremely touching. So been a really, really cool experience. Really grateful for it.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. I feel like people need to use their platforms for things like that, where you're, essentially impacting people that you don't even know, probably, a fraction of those people that you're actually impacting.
Right.
So good for you.
No, it's been great, man. Thank you.
Our first question here is, it has to do with the children's book. You also recently, I want to say maybe like a month or so ago, ran a marathon in New York City. Which one was tougher, writing the children's book or running the marathon?
Oh, hands down, that marathon. The book was enjoyable. It took a while, but every bit of the process I just enjoyed. It was a trip down kind of memory lane for me, to bring that story to life. But the marathon, wow, that was. I'm not a runner. I've never been a runner, and I only agreed. I would never have done a marathon. That was never like a thought of mine, but it was for a really good cause. This charity came to me and I was like, hey, you want to like join us? We'll raise some money and run this marathon. I was like, well, I can't say no to that, but I'm not a runner. And I said yes to it. I kind of like in my mind just put it off. I have, some good friends here in New York that are runners, or, really fitness savvy, and like, dude, you haven't been training. Like you need to get on this. Like you need to do something. This is not like a piece of cake. And in my mind, I don't know why, I was flying a lot, so it's kind of hard to get some good training, schedules in, but I just put it off. And the only training I did was about 3 weeks prior to the marathon. I was like, I have to do something. And I've never run more than like a couple miles in my life. So I'm like, I'm going to run 6 miles. I'm going to run I live in New York on the east side. Down the east side, I was going to run to this bridge and back. It was 3 miles each way. I do the first 3 miles and I'm pretty gassed, and I don't even turn around and keep going. I stop and I like rest for like 10, 15 minutes because I need it. I was like, this is not easy. And then I run the last 3 miles back. So total of 6, but not even together consecutively. And I was like, all right, like I'm not feeling horrible, but like I'm going to use that and just artificially give myself confidence that I can do 26.2 is what it is, 26.2 miles. And I did it. And it was the only reason I made it through was because the crowd's incredible. Like they are just encouraging every single runner to just go, go, go and not stop. The energy, it's like being in I guess Lumen Field now. I know now what it's like to be playing on the field as like a player and have the crowd, the 12th man, truly energize you in a way that's unexplainable. Because that was what it was like in New York, and it was a true testament to just like willpower. Because my body was destroyed after, but I said I wasn't going to stop, so I didn't.
Do you remember what your time was?
It was nothing good. It was 5 hours and 12 minutes.
Okay, I think that's great.
Yeah. So.
Both my parents run marathons as well, and
okay.
And they always ask me, they're like, hey, like you should come run with us, and I'm just like, nope, like I'm not a runner. Like it's like I run to play sports, like I play soccer, I play lacrosse, but like to run just to run, I like you said, having to train a lot to have to do something like that, and figure something like that out, and how to, I guess, pace your body.
Yeah, no, it's true. That was the one thing I just like, because I'm very competitive, and every time I've gone running with some friends on a much shorter distance, I've always kind of gone super fast out of the gates, and I was like, I can't do this with that. I have to just like pace myself. You have to, else you'll run out of gas halfway through, or even before that. So that was good. I was able to pace myself, and that definitely helped. But man, I tell you, like mile 18, 19, my body at least my legs felt like they were glass. Like truly, like every step was the most painful step I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm like, wow, I have like 8 more miles to go. Like this is insane. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but yeah, you just somehow you find a way. So it was a cool moment to just prove to myself you can do whatever you set your mind to.
Yeah, awesome.
See, Christopher, maybe this is like the inspiration you need right here. You're like, hey, he's also not a runner. I'm not a runner. He completed it. Maybe you can complete it also, Chris.
Guarantee. If I can do it, Chris, you can do it. I promise you that. I swear. I'm sprint. I play football. That's it. Not long distance. If I can do it, I guarantee you can.
Steve's seen me run. I don't know.
I'll never say never.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe that'll be a goal for 2022.
Do it, man. Hey, come out. Try to get on the New York City Marathon, and we'll run it together. We'll wear our 12th man jerseys, and that'll be a good time.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see what I can work out. Because is that one that do you register for it, or do you have to qualify for it? Because I know Boston, you have to qualify for Boston.
Yeah. Well, I know that you can either qualify, which I never would have done, or you get in through raising money via a charity. So that will probably be our best bet. So I can introduce you to some people, and we can just try to raise some money to get in.
Yeah. There we go. I've got a friend chiming in here. Go, Chris, go. We'll cheer you on. So thanks, Nigel. I'll see what I can do here. Pete, we'll stay in contact and we'll see if we can, like you said, work some out for charity, and I'd be happy to run it with you in our 12 jerseys.
Yeah, man, that'd be pretty cool.
And
we gotta get Blitz to do it with us. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Get Blitz to do it in the full get up and everything. The full 26.2 miles. I would expect from Blitz.
The thing is, I actually believe that Blitz could do that. So I got faith in him.
There you go. And that's, I mean, of course, to segue into what, we brought you on here because you're a Seahawks fan and we wanted to talk football with you. This all kind of started, like you said, on Instagram, which I'm going to give a special shout out to Steve's wife, Alyssa. She saw you post something about the Seahawks game that you're going to, and you're giving away some tickets. And she's like, hey, like, Ballhawks podcast, you guys should get Pete on your show. He's a huge Seahawks fan. And I was like, yeah, I would absolutely love to do it. And next thing you know, we're DMing each other and we're making it work. And this is the one and only time that my wife is actually listening to my podcast. She actually asked if she could be a guest this week as well. So
I love it. You got to give her a shout out for me.
Yeah, she's watching on Facebook. So if you just want to say hi to Nadine, she'll probably run downstairs and
Nadine, what's up? Go Hawks!
But of course, you went to the Matt Hasselbeck Ring of Honor game.
I did.
I just want to know. I mean, of course, like that game is a huge game, but also just being back in Lumen Field, back with the 12s. Of course, it was an empty stadium last year. So, just what was it like being at that game specifically, and just also being with the crowd?
Oh man, it was absolutely incredible. I'd been invited to go out there, and obviously could not pass that opportunity up. Heard it was going to be the Matt Hasselbeck game, and Matt was. I was a fan of when I first became a Hawks fan. Kitna was our quarterback, and so I was actually my first jersey. It was a John Kitna jersey, and I was a big Kitna fan. But Matt was really the quarterback that I like really kind of growing up just connected with. And like once that I think every 12 goes to this, like you can be a fan, people are fans of sports, but like as a 12 there's something special, like something different that connects you with the team just because of our 12th man connection. And once that passion takes off, it's like nothing will ever come close to that. Nothing compares. And so when I was really getting hooked on the Hawks, that was when Matt was battling with Dilfer to take the lead. And then, he became our quarterback. And so I just, I had a Matt Hasselbeck jersey for the longest time. And that was like my main go-to. And it was just so surreal before the game, we did a little kind of a sofa talk with some guys from the Hawks before the game. And I had to go actually after Matt, and Matt had gone before me. And I'm here sitting like, why the hell do they have me go after Matt Hasselbeck? Like you can't follow that. Why would they do that to me? Let me go before and then let Matt come after. Like you can't follow up Matt Hasselbeck, especially for that day. And anyways, it is what it is. I went on and made a joke about that. But it was super cool. I didn't meet him then. I saw him, like he was coming off stage as I was going on. And I was like, damn, I got to meet him. That'd be so cool to meet him. And then, we do that little sofa talk. The game starts, or watching the game. And it's just every time I'm in that stadium, every single time, it's goosebumps. It's so freaking electric. The energy's insane. I never once left that stadium with a normal voice. I'm always hoarse voice and then lose it 2 days later and it's gone for a week, but it's so worth it. And to be able to feel that again and just like connect with all the 12s was incredible. I got to go down, actually, it's a moment I'll never forget. I got to go down onto the field for halftime or right before halftime and do a little QB competition with Blitz. And as we're waiting to go on there, it was at the 2-minute warning. Matt's coming out as well with his family because they're going to do the whole presentation at halftime after. And he comes on and he walks by. I didn't able to see him. And then Blitz goes and runs up to him, has him come over. I got to go, meet Matt for the first time and like just tell him how big of a fan I was. I got a picture with him wearing his, number 8 jersey. And it was just a very, very special moment, that I'll never forget. And got to, watch his ceremony shortly after that, be inducted into the Ring of Honor. And just be so proud to kind of be a part of that and have rooted him on for so long. And yeah, I mean, he was our first, like, there's so many memories that, he's given us as 12s, being able to meet him and just such a great guy. You could just tell from the, minute there I was talking with him, it was really special.
Yeah. It's, I mean, it sounds like we became Seahawks fans around the same time. You were right before me. I started cheering kind of early 2000s after Matt, right when Matt and Trent were kind of battling for the starting position there as well. And
yeah,
and like you said, it's just totally feel this special bond with the team and Matt being the quarterback when I first started cheering for the team and just watching him lead the team to a Super Bowl and all those things that he did and plus I mean everything that he did off the field. He was always represented the city and the team really well. And so yeah, it was really cool to see him get that honor. I think it was a well-deserved and probably long overdue honor. I don't know about you, but isn't it kind of weird seeing somebody wear number 8 again? Like I think
it's Dunlap, right? Has 8,
right? Yeah, like not only is somebody wearing 8 for I think the first time since Matt wore it, but it's a guy on defense, and it's just like it's super bizarre.
I personally don't like it. I don't think it looks good on D linemen. I'm just being honest. Like the single digit. But yeah, I feel like 8 should be retired. I don't know.
I agree.
I don't.
I said the same thing when they put him in the Ring of Honor. I'm like personally, like I know they save the retirement for the guys that make it into the Hall of Fame, but I think Matt was he was so special and I think meant so much to the team and the city of Seattle that I feel like regardless of Hall of Fame, he deserves that honor more than maybe anyone else that hasn't made the Hall of Fame for the Hawks.
I totally agree with you. I feel like which obviously you guys kind of feel the same. If you have that moment where a fan, it's a true fan, looks at a number and it just doesn't feel right, that's a sign to the team that, okay, we should retire this number. And it just, at least for me, maybe, and you, maybe we're by ourselves, but I feel like, if there's I think Matt is totally deserving of that, to have it retired. And, I'd love to see it. It was super cool too. Actually when he was on stage, he was asked about one of his favorite moments as a Seahawk. And he brought up the Redskin game. It was, I think it was our the first time we won a playoff game with him in Seattle.
Yep.
And it was so incredible. I couldn't believe he was saying that because that was my first game I ever went to as a Seahawks fan. And I then got asked about that just like 10 minutes later. I'm like, it's so crazy that Matt just said this. That was one of his favorite memories. That was the first time I ever went to, it was Quest back then, the Quest Field.
Yeah.
And I was with my dad. And I remember vividly the touchdown he threw to DJ Hackett. And just like, I had that picture as my background on my laptop for the longest time. Like him, like he was like pointing up and it was the coolest thing. And that was one of his favorite stories. So all in all, I'm all for retiring his number.
Yeah, that's really good. It's funny you say that because like my vivid moment from that game is when he scrambled for that, 16-yard touchdown. And like as he's going into the end zone, he's got the ball up in the air as he's sliding it. Yes, right? Like I say that and you could probably just picture it in your head. Like I know I'm picturing it in my head right now. And it's too bad ESPN didn't show the whole ceremony. I know it was on YouTube after the fact.
Okay. He had a great speech too.
Yeah. I would have liked to have I mean, God, I would have loved to have been there live. But of course the border is making that a little difficult right now. So
sure.
But talking about being Seahawks fans, I mean, you said you started cheering when Kitna was the quarterback. So that's probably the late 90s, I think it would have been.
Yep.
Guy that grew up in California. Why and how the Seahawks?
Yeah, well, even crazier actually. So I didn't move to California until I was like 12 or 13. I originally became a Hawks fan, probably as far away from Seattle as you can be. It was a town called Boca Raton, Florida, close, just north of Miami. So you look on a map of how far away those places are. You can almost not get farther. And I became a Hawks fan because my dad, he used to live in Seattle. And so he was in Seattle when the team was founded. And so it just became a 12 instantly and got hooked. And then as my brother and I have a little brother, as we got older and kind of got into football, it was just, immediate. We became 12s and started cheering. And, I remember, the first couple of games, Ricky Waters, John Kitten, Sean was coming on, Matt was coming on, and Sean Springs and, all those great guys, playing in the old time, classic uniforms. But I was in close to Miami, and there was never, I remember I'd go to like a grocery store and like, you'd see like the little toy, like where you put the quarter in to get like a bobblehead, or a little helmet bobblehead for a football team or something. And everything was Dolphins, right? Or whatever the team, the East Coast teams, a lot of AFC teams, nothing was ever Seahawks, no jerseys, nothing. And I just always was like, so sad as a little kid. Like I would just want to see something Seattle wise, something, and it just didn't exist. And all I got was, watching them on TV. That was the only time I could ever experience them. And then I remember we moved out to LA when I was like 12 or 13. And shortly after we went to our first game, the Redskins game. And that was the first time where I was like, I landed in Seattle, and immediately at SeaTac, you see the rest, all the Seahawk, gear and all the restaurants that are themed. And I'm like, these are my people. Like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. And I just I ate it up like crazy, going to Pike's Market and just seeing everyone just crazy about the Hawks. And then at that time, Quest was just insane, shaking like no other. It was so special to finally like connect with other, 12s, because it had been so long that I didn't get to do that.
I was going to say, all your friends probably, growing up were Dolphins fans, or I guess the Rams would have been in St. Louis, so maybe 49ers fans for your friends growing up. And what was were they always like picking on you because your team wasn't very good to start there, and then all of a sudden 2006 you got to kind of shove it back in their faces, or what?
Yep. Oh, totally, man. I remember. Yeah, it was a bunch of it was Dolphins fans. I remember Jets fans, and then they did have a lot of Niners jerseys. Actually, they would sell. I remember still in the grocery stores I would see and all the shops. But yeah, I was literally the only Hawks fan, the only one. And I'd always, when the team gets hot at the end of the year and they're gonna make it, and then they lose. Or I remember the game against the Packers. When unfortunately the pick six ended it in Lambeau. Up to that point, like I'm so high on the Hawks, so high on life that they're going to do it and get there. And like, I don't care what everyone's saying, like they're all against me, but like, it doesn't matter. Like I see something, this team's special. Right. And, it never happened. And then I moved to LA, and still, I remember where I got these, when I went to that game, I got, these, like sweatbands, the Seahawks sweatbands that I would wear to school. And I was just like so obsessed, and just like repping them through the playoffs, and like, it's going to happen. And then, oh my God, that I remember that took me so long to get over our Super Bowl loss against the Steelers. Like, I know
I'm still not over it. Like,
I don't think you'll ever get over it.
I still hold more bitterness towards that one than I do Super Bowl 49 to the Patriots.
Do you really?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Seahawks lost Super Bowl 49. I feel like
we didn't lose the 40.
No, Super Bowl 40 got taken from us. I think
and I don't care who you are, if you unbiasedly look at it, it is what it is. It's a fact, and it's sickening still, definitely. Yeah, I don't even want to go through those feelings again because they're coming back.
Yeah, totally. And like, there's so many things that like, you just think like, you talk about the Roethlisberger touchdown, and immediately that brings up emotions, or the Darrell Jackson pass interference, and again, that's more emotions, right? Like, there's so many things from that game that it just, I'll never forget my reaction in the moment. I got up off the couch as I was 19 at the time, got up off the couch, threw my hat on the floor, stormed out of the room, went to the kitchen to grab a beer. And it's actually funny, my girlfriend at the time, who is actually now currently my wife, comes into the kitchen, and she's like, it's okay. And like, she walks in, she's like smiling, like, oh, like, it's okay. I'm like, I don't know what you're smiling about. There's nothing to be happy about right now. And I just like grab my beer and walk away. And
yep.
Somehow
Man.
she still married me.
Hey, well, that's a keeper right there. No doubt. But yeah, man, I remember when like it was Tony Ventrella. He would do the videos like at practice or behind the scenes. He'd always post on the website. I don't know when he went away. I loved his stuff though. He was like the Seahawks insider.
Yeah.
And he'd always interview the players after the game too. And I remember, man, it was after the loss, and he was interviewing Max Strong, and like I just wanted to like cry, like watching Mac talk about the game and just how close it was and how much it stung to him. You know, obviously being a player, it was rough. That's too bad. That was our Super Bowl. You know, there's no way Steelers fans can feel good about that if they're being honest. There's no way.
Well, we all know that Steelers fans are dirty cheaters. So, as the non-Seahawks fan in this room right now, they are cheaters all the time. Time that one hurt me. Obviously, not as much as you guys, but watching your arch nemesis win the Super Bowl
Not a
when
good feeling.
you don't deserve to win it is not just as, but fairly sickening as well.
Oh, that's why it felt so great to see you guys beat the Niners. I was so happy that happened. Like that was incredible.
After they tried shutting the lights off on us to win.
Yep. No,
well,
totally.
NFL just wanting those historic teams to prevail.
I know.
Same with when the Chiefs beat the Niners a couple years ago. It's just like I cannot
I was at that
deal
game, yeah.
with the Niners fans if they somehow pull this off. Like I can't handle it.
I was so happy. It felt so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like,
Rams too.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, when the Patriots beat the Rams as well, and
we're the last NFC West team to have won, right? We're the last champion. Yeah. So that's something no one else can say.
Yeah, because I think, well, no, because the Rams would have been the NFC West in 90. When did they win it? 99. I think they were the.
But we won after them. Yeah. Ours was after, and then the Cardinals lost, Niners have lost, Rams. So yeah, we're the last winner.
Yeah.
It's funny that you guys say like you can't handle listening to another 49ers fan win a Super Bowl. I remember the one they played against the Ravens. They were coming into it as this like pretty boy poster child of the NFL, 5-0 in Super Bowls. No one's ever going to be able to derail this like golden team. And just all I heard for weeks was how like the Ravens had no chance, and like it was the Niners game, and it was very good to sort of just shut them up. I don't like their fans. Any like Niners fan I've come across just haven't. I don't know. They annoy me as well. So.
Oh, totally. No, I feel you.
Let's get into some current NFL stuff here. This might be a little sour taste here, but obviously no secret the Seahawks are facing quite a bit of adversity this year. Probably the most that they've faced in the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era. A lot of people are saying it's time to move on from one or both of them. What are your thoughts on that, and just the current season as a whole? What are your ideas?
I mean, yeah, there's no skating around this season as a Hawks fan. It's been a bummer. First time we've had to deal with Russ being out for an injury. You know, you get spoiled at some point when your quarterback is just so durable and so consistent and can not only just play for such a long, so many consecutive games, but perform at a high level and not really have slumps for so many high games. And so, immediately that goes out the wayside, and it's like, this is new territory. That's tough. Through those games that Russ was out, pretty much every single game was winnable. No game was really, what the Steelers, that was a winnable game. The Rams, we almost came back when Geno first went. That was a winnable game. Maybe I'm just the eternal optimist, but it still inspired a ton of confidence in me in the team being able to rally around Geno, and with Russ being out, to still be in those games and not really be blown out. Obviously, being close doesn't count in the league, and you got to get the win. And we didn't, with those couple of games. But listen, I know there's been a ton of talk with, is it time for Russ to go? Is it time for Pete to go? And I don't subscribe to that. I really don't. I really think that Yes, I think that Pete has a different coaching style that is people are maybe moving away from. They're going for the younger coaches, the offensive gurus, the Sean McVays, I forgot the guy's name from the Cardinals, but I don't know. Again, maybe I'm the eternal optimist. We're on a 2-game win streak right now. It's the NFL already did us dirty moving this game, to Tuesday. And that says something, I think. But I think that's benefiting the Rams, no doubt, because, just Seattle is we only had two cases. Yes, it sucks that block it out. So hopefully we can get him back, and that can help benefit us as well. But I think this 2-game win streak goes into a third. I think this week we gain some good traction for today. Even before we play, we're going to gain some good traction because there's so many NFC West or NFC head-to-head battles with teams that are ahead of us. So you're guaranteed a loss or a tie between one of those teams. So we're going to pick up ground today, guaranteed. We'll see how much more ground we can pick up on Tuesday. And yes, right now the seventh seed is really the only option we have to get into the playoffs. But once you're in, that's all that matters. You saw that with Beast Quake and a losing record getting into the playoffs, and we won. And so anything can happen in the playoffs, anything. All that matters is the hot team at the right time. So we got Russ back. He's getting better and better. I don't want to see him go anywhere. I think Russ needs to be a Hawk forever. And I think Carroll's got some more years in him too. Yes, there was a rough, patch there, but that's quickly forgotten with a hot run at the end of a season. And we got 4 games left. I think we're going to do just that. And it all starts beating the Rams. I was so bummed. I was supposed to go to the game. I was going to be at the game today. I was going to fly out to LA, and then it freaking got canceled. So I can't go because I got work starting on Tuesday. But I was going to be yelling my head off, at SoFi to get the Hawks that win. But I really do believe that we're coming on strong at the right time. I don't know. I've been impressed with our defense as of late. I really have. And, Rashad, I think he is going to start finding his groove. It's about time, but better late than never. And I don't know. Watch it. I think we're going to be flying under the radar, which I am totally okay with. And I think at the end, I think that last game of the season, we're going to have a chance to get that 7th seed. It's going to be down the last game. I think we get it. And then it's anyone's game.
The NFL is so wild right now. Like the fact that we're even talking about the Seahawks still having a chance. Like obviously,
I know
you were mentioning the run there when Russ went out, and I know Chris and I, when we were on the pod here, you could see his morale is a little lower, obviously, and the fact that you're 1 game out of a playoff spot,
incredible.
And, if the NFL has taught us anything about this year, is that anybody can beat anybody on any given week. Totally. Especially in a pandemic world. Like you don't even know who's going to show up to the games, let alone what 2 teams are going to get in.
Yeah. No, I mean that sucks that's the case, because you hate to think like shit, you get to a great spot in the playoffs and then you lose your quarterback or something because of a COVID thing. So hopefully knock on wood that doesn't happen for any teams. But yeah, I don't remember a season like this. I really don't. I have to go way back. I don't really remember a season where there were just so many teams jumbled in together within a couple games of each other. There was not very many runaway teams that are just killing it. Like every team's got quite a bit of losses at this point in the season. And I don't know. I think that's good for the NFL. I think that's, the competition aspect, that's good. But yeah, I mean, it's great. I think it was great to see, I saw Russ really just kind of get Russ back a couple times there in Houston last week and just like get pumped. And you saw that energy because, the morale, of course, it's low. You're losing. Why would it be high? But what I love about Russ is his eternal optimism. And it's always next game, always compete. Let's go, feel good about the next day. What do we have next? His 3 Ps. And I don't know. As a Hawks fan, yes, it's easy. The one thing, it's like, as a Hawks fan, when your team, the only time I remember like it was like, okay, we have a horrible season, but at least we're going to get some great draft picks when we had the year with the 2 first rounds with Earl and Russell Okung when we got to draft him. But this year, there is no option for that because we don't get a first round pick. And you don't want to give New York anything, right? So like there's no reason not to root. And again, we're 1 game out, so why not?
And I'll add in like that's been one of the more frustrating parts about all of this too, is that like usually if your team's not doing well, you're kind of like, okay, well, like we're not doing well, but I've got this top 5 draft pick, this
You can
top
look forward to
10
that.
draft pick. Exactly, right? You got something to look forward to. Like, okay, like we're not doing great, but this gives us an opportunity to build and be better next year and get, you know, some stud rookie on a rookie contract, what have you.
Yep.
And we don't have that to look forward to, right? So that's all we can do is try to be optimistic and cheer and hope for the best and see Seattle, you know, sneak in through the back door and get that 7th seed.
It's yeah.
You
It's
mentioned
like what's that saying? It's like sink the ships. You know, like don't give yourself there's no way out anymore. Like there's nothing to look forward to if you have a bad season. So like give it all, put it all in right now because there's no reason to hope for anything else. Yeah.
And that's kind of been, I mean, Seattle's MO the last few seasons is put all their chips in the middle and go for it. I mean, they're not stupid by any means. They know that their window is going to close. You know, Russ is only going to be Russ for so long, and Pete only has so many years left in the league. And John Schneider, I mean, you know, to a certain degree has to prove his worth as well. So they certainly have been putting their chips in the middle. You know, the last 2 to 3 years for sure with some of the trades that they've made. So hopefully they can, you know, it all starts on Tuesday, like you said, one game at a time. Hopefully they can win out and we can see, you know, some of these other teams ahead of us lose 1 or 2 and we can sneak our way into the playoffs. And, you know, like you said, the Beast Quake is a prime example. You just have to get there.
You just have to get there. Totally. And like I said, I mean, we're guaranteed today we're making ground. That's a guarantee. So without even playing. And I think anytime you have a healthy Russell Wilson, I don't care what team we're playing, we have a chance. I think there's like 1 or 2 games, 1 or 2. The only one I could think of offhand was there's one against the Chargers, but 1 or 2 where when Russell was healthy or when we were playing with him, where at the end, if we were losing, we didn't have a chance to come back for a game tying or winning score. There's 1 or 2 games in his entire career of over 10 years. So you always got a chance when you have a healthy Russ.
Yeah, there was one against the Rams for sure a few years ago that I can remember, and the only reason I remember it is it happened during the fantasy football playoffs, and I had too many Seahawks, and it sunk my team.
Oh no! Oh no! I've done that many times. Where I'll draft the Hawks players just because I can't not, and sometimes it bites you. But
it's funny. I only lost that matchup by like 3 or 4 points, and that's because I had a whole bunch of Seahawks players on my roster, but I also had Todd Gurley, who had something like 4 touchdowns that game.
Shit.
So he kept me in it. But yeah, like you said, anytime we have Russ, we're not too far out of it for sure.
Hey, we just want a chance. That's all we need.
Yeah.
You just need an invitation to the dance, then you can find your partner.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to something we do here every week. We can't not include you in this, Peter.
Yeah.
You obviously listen to every episode, but for everyone who doesn't, I'll recap kind of what this is. It's called The Third Down. It's sponsored by Bad Tattoo Brewing in Kelowna here. So maybe after you guys do your marathon in New York together, you can fly back out west and we'll go out for pizza and beer.
Amazing.
Sponsors. So what it is I'm going to give you guys some different matchups this week. I'm going to give you all Seahawks, obviously, stuff. And I'm going to pit 2 things against each other. And then you've got to give me your winner of the matchup. And then we'll recap it and we'll see who does a better job. So this week we're going to do best of Seahawk favorite things. Just because I want to see both of you squirm just a little bit and, you know, having to pick between your 2 children kind of idea. So,
all right.
You for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I'm ready.
So I'm going to give the first. Well, we'll start with Peter here. Your first matchup is one. Actually, both guys we've been talking about. Running back Sean Alexander, and of course, you can't compare him against anyone but Marshawn Lynch.
Oh
so
God!
The battle of the running backs coming in hot to start here. Who you got?
Oh no, that's why would you do that? That's horrible. Oh my God. I legit, I am going to flip a freaking coin because I can't pick this. I can't. All right. Silver is Sean. Black is Marshawn. Wait.
He's flipping the Apple remote.
Silver. It's Sean. I have so many vivid memories of both and being like just the biggest fan of both. I'm going with Sean just because pure chance, but that's bad. Don't do that again. That's horrible.
Okay. All right, Christopher, you're up on the hot seat. Who you got?
I just want to firstly, before I give my answer, just say to Peter, welcome to the third down segment, because this is it's not going to get easier from here. I feel like.
Oh man.
Marshawn was so important to the team and the Seahawks success and a lot of those early Russell Wilson years. And I mean, of course, nobody's ever going to forget the Beast Quake. But for me, it's Sean Alexander. He is the only Seahawks player to ever win an MVP. After he broke the single season touchdown record with, I think it was 27 touchdowns in one season for a running back anyways, which LaDainian Tomlinson broke the following year. It was the very first Seahawks jersey I ever owned, was a Sean Alexander jersey. There's again, so many memories of him just dominating the league for a number of years, which I mean, a lot of that can be attributed to probably Walter Jones and Steve Hutchinson as well. But yeah, it's Sean Alexander for me as well.
Interesting.
I would have loved to have seen Beast Mode run behind Walt and Hutch in that line, and Tobeck and Locklear and Gray. That would have been incredible too.
It would have been unfair.
He might hit 3,000 yards. It
was already unfair for Sean. I mean, everybody knew they were running left, and teams still couldn't stop it. So, I mean, could you imagine like that blocking up front with Marshawn's like, I'm going to run through your face attitude?
That would have been, Sean had the finesse, and I think, I mean, I did it to chance there, but I think too, I think I'd have to lean Sean too a little bit, just because he didn't have any prior like family, right? And so like Marshawn, I kind of felt like you knew him from Buffalo a little bit, and then we adopted him. But Sean was like born and raised, with Seattle. And that there is something special about that you can't go unsaid. But man, that's a tough one for sure.
All right, well, just to make things even more interesting, it's not going to get easier. A little background history here. We had a Ravens guest on, and Chris kind of sabotaged both of us. So unfortunately, you got the revenge third down here, Peter. But I'm going to make Chris go first on this one. I'll give you a little extra think time. You knew it was coming if I did Battle of the Running Backs, Battle of the Quarterbacks. We've got the current Russell Wilson, only player to bring Seattle a Super Bowl, versus the guy we were talking about earlier, Matt Hasselbeck. Who you got, Chris?
Yeah, this one's tough. Like you said, Russ is the guy that brought the Lombardi to Seattle. He's the guy that, regardless of our feelings about Super Bowl 40, Russ is the quarterback that did get it done. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would argue it was the LOB that got it done, but that's a conversation for a different time. Russ holds all the record. If he doesn't hold every single Seahawks passing record already, he will. I'm positive he's surpassed Matt for passing yards, completions, touchdowns, etc. I mean, he is in Seattle. We've never seen a quarterback like Russell Wilson. But, and I'm going to take my camera off my laptop for a second here. Don't mind all the kids' toys in the background. I don't know if you guys can see that.
There you go.
Yep. There you go.
It's an autographed Matthew Hasselbeck jersey. I have said it before on this show that Matt Hasselbeck is a big reason why I started cheering for the Seattle Seahawks. He was the quarterback when I started cheering for this team. Some of his moments I'll never forget, good and bad. And for that reason, I have to choose Matt Hasselbeck. Ask me when Russell Wilson's career in Seattle is done, and I might change my tune. But maybe it's the nostalgia. I don't know. But yeah, it's Matt for me.
Peter, who do you have?
Man. I mean, great reasoning behind all that. And I agree with you. I have to go with Matt. Matt was just, for me, I kind of already told you guys, a little bit how much he's meant to me just growing up as a fan and watching him. But I don't know if it's the same way for anyone else. For me, we've been to a Super Bowl. We've been to a Super Bowl and won. We've been to a Super Bowl and lost. So we've experienced every feeling you can feel. And really, I don't know if a little bit is just because it was the first time, but for me, I still think the most pride I think I've ever, this may sound weird, but the most pride and just like pure just joy, happiness, all the above feelings for the Hawks that I've ever felt was when we were lifting that trophy for the NFC Championship game against Carolina at Quest. On our way to it was the first time that it's ever been done. And the excitement of wanting it so bad, I've been being a fan now for quite a while, waiting for that moment. It finally happens. I don't know if I've ever actually, even after we won the Super Bowl against the Broncos, while that was such a beautiful, amazing experience, we won, we finally did it. I don't know if it compares to getting to the big dance, for the first time, in my opinion, being able to do it in Seattle. And with Matt being at the forefront of all that, that was so special. And like, I think, yes, obviously we'll forever be indebted to Russ for giving us our first actual Lombardi, obviously. I don't know. I think a little bit too is the nostalgia for me kind of creeps in and has me lean a little towards, Matt's side. Same thing. One of my first jerseys, I have, a signed Matt, picture, in my childhood room back home, forever. And then being able to meet him too for his Ring of Honor. So very, very difficult again, but I would sway a little bit towards Matt.
It's always interesting how nostalgia versus recency bias kind of plays into a sports fan thing. Like you almost want the nostalgia to be the better one, even if the result wasn't what you wanted for it, because you just remember it so much more fondly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, this one, my next matchup here, pretty much follows that exactly. There's one nostalgia and one more recent. This is the battle of the better soundbite. So we've got Matt's "We Want the Ball" and we're going to score. And we're pinning that versus Marshawn Lynch's "I'm Just Here So I Don't Get Fined." Let's start with Peter.
Oh man, those are great sound bites. You gotta love Marshawn. I think I go with Matt. So "We Want the Ball" and we're gonna score. I can hear it vividly in my voice with him, with the ref at the coin toss, calling it with the beanie on. And at that point still, like you're all behind Matt. You're behind the Hawks and Matt's the leader of that team. And, sure, was it cocky to say or what? I don't care. It was awesome. Like, who doesn't love that kind of confidence coming from your leader in such a pivotal moment, hostile environment in Green Bay? Everyone's against us. It doesn't matter. We know what we're doing. And even though it didn't happen, it's like the fact that I think everyone still was so behind Matt and never really wavered. Like, they were heartbroken. He was heartbroken, to have that happen the way it did. But to still be on him, behind him so strongly, it didn't affect anything. That's pretty powerful in itself. So I would say I got to say that, even though it hurts.
Chris, who you
got? I'm not just trying to be a good host by constantly agreeing with our guest Peter here. Anyone that's listened to this show knows how many times I've talked about "we want the ball and we're gonna score," and everyone knows that singular moment is a big reason when I knew and why I stuck with Seattle. I was like, that was the moment where I was like, oh yeah, these are my guys. Like, these are my guys. That's my quarterback. Like Peter just said, that's my leader. That's the guy that's leading the squad. And yeah, it's we want the ball and we're gonna score. I as much as I'm just here so I don't get fined is such a good soundbite. Iconic. Everybody knows that one. You know why I'm here. Like, I'm
he just did a
so commercial
kind of off that too with Subway.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. He just did a commercial with that, and it's one of those things where it's iconic, but so is the we want the ball and we're gonna score, especially because of the way it ended.
Right.
For the Seahawks. But yeah, that one moment I've talked about many times with Steve.
What's up?
And discussed how much I loved that one moment. So, and
totally.
Here, let's see if I can
just copying Peter here. I'm not gonna lie, Chris. It's not the best way to win the third down, but if that's your strategy, you roll with it for as long as you can. We've got our fourth and final matchup here of the third down segment. So this one comes down to two of maybe the most iconic, more recent, but two very iconic moments in Seahawk playoff history. You guys have been mentioning it throughout the Beast Quake run. Probably my favorite soundbite, listening to Mike Mayock tell the whole
oh my God,
get off of him, he says to Tracy Porter as he across the world, basically. So there's Beast Quake versus the picture that Chris has up behind him, the Richard Sherman tip on Michael Crabtree to end the Niners' hope. I'm going to go with Chris on this one first. Which one you got?
Oh, this is the toughest for me. I mean, both were such pivotal moments. I mean, you could almost throw in, like, there's been a lot of big moments in Seahawks history. Those moments that I remember exactly where I was type moments. For me, the Tony Romo fumbled the snap in the wild card game against the Cowboys. I remember exactly where I was and what my reaction was for that one. The Jermaine Kearse overtime touchdown catch against the Packers, the NFC Championship game. I remember exactly where I was and my reaction in that one. Actually, my daughter Olivia, that just popped in the screen there. She was a newborn baby for that Jermaine Kearse catch, and I had her in my arms when he caught that touchdown, and I jumped up off the couch, and my wife's like, Christopher, like, give me our baby, like, before you drop her.
I love
that. The Beast Quake. I remember exactly where I was when the Beast Quake happened. I was at work. And I remember I was in the lunchroom at work, and I was screaming at the TV, like, oh my God, go. And like one of the guys that I work with came into the lunchroom to make sure that everything was okay because I was making so much racket.
Yep.
But with that, it's all of those I remember where I was moments. I actually don't remember exactly where I was for the tip. I don't remember my exact reaction for the tip. I'm sure I jumped off the couch, but my answer has to be the tip. It sent Seattle to the Super Bowl. Richard Sherman with, somehow his arm like extended longer. He had the go-go gadget arm, got up there and tipped the ball to Malcolm Smith for the interception. And then, of course, talking about iconic sound bites, ran up and had that interview with Aaron Andrews. Don't you ever talk about me, right? So it's. I mean, I've got it right behind me. That was the gift to myself after winning fantasy football a few years ago. And it's one of those moments that will go down in Seahawks history for sure.
Peter,
that's amazing, man. Yeah, man, you give me like goosebumps all running through all those iconic plays. Yeah, I could go right back to every single spot too. I remember I remember what I did. I remember who I was with. And I remember that game against the Saints for, we were getting so much crap talked about us. We don't deserve to host a game. 7-9, what the hell? The Saints, it's ridiculous. They should be hosting this. We should be going to New Orleans. And no one was giving us a chance or anything. And that was Matt's last year, huh? Right?
Yep.
That was his last year.
His last home game as a Seahawk.
Last home game. I think honestly, man, I have to go with Beast Quake because I remember when that happened, and it just, he breaks through the hole and then kind of goes up and then cuts right. And I remember, like, I had one of my good friends, he was there, and I'm just like, I got my arm around him, I'm just like squeezing harder and harder, and I just start yelling just like off the top of my lungs, like I'm right there with all the 12s, at Quest, and we're together and jumping up and down. And then you just see him, get up the right side, and he just stiff arms the guy and he goes off. And then it was a whole new octave of yelling and just like emotion coming through. And then you're running up and you see Matt start making his way into the screen as well, and he's giving it everything he has, and like you just feel like you're running with him, like you feel like you're blocking and helping Marshawn get there to the goal line, and all the linemen catch up. And and then he pulls in and he finally gets there, and he does like his signature pose there as he's crossing the goal line. And I just remember like that type of excitement. I've had it a couple of times, but I think that may be the top level of excitement I've ever experienced from one single play of pure emotion just coming through. And then hearing about how, we caused them a mini earthquake because we were going so crazy up there in Seattle. And then just also what that play kind of cemented for us, winning the game we never should have won. No one gave us a chance. It shouldn't have happened. We were a losing record. And it didn't matter. We took that. We got the win. I remember Matt walking off, video of pictures of him with his son at the time on his shoulders as a little kid. And then, it's his last game there in Seattle. What a last game to experience, right? You can't, besides maybe winning a Super Bowl, how else do you go out better than that kind of ending of a game? It was incredible. So I think, well, yeah, I mean, I'll remember vividly that Kaepernick's making the drive with the Niners, and I'm like, shoot, are they going to do this? Are they going to do this last minute, just take it away from us? And then the relief. I think it was more of a relief for me type feeling with Sherman, just like, no, like I knew we had the game, and then he like, yeah, we do have it. It was I loved it. It was a relief for me. The Marshawn one was just pure adrenaline, like, oh my God, you're just not expecting that. And then it happens right in front of your eyes. But both plays, man, go down in history forever. And so cool. I remember watching both of them live. It was amazing.
They're both on the Mount Rushmore of Seahawks plays. And like you said with the Sherman tip, like it was such a nervous energy of like,
yes,
oh no, is this actually happening? And then
totally.
it was such a weight off the shoulders, like, oh, like I can relax again and like actually drink my beer without choking on it. And my friend Nigel chiming in here that he loves these memories as well. And listening to you talk about the Beast Quake and your reaction and it, it's just like it's replaying in my head and same thing, like just goosebumps, like as you talk about it. Cause I remember these, Matt running up field with his, wasn't his wrist broken on his non-throwing hand too? And like,
wrist. And then he's like stumbling forward, just trying to give it everything he has, and it just gets us in. And I probably watched that play over and over, maybe I would say at least 50 times, honestly, like within that week. Just I kept watching it over. And Mike Mayock, get off me. He's like, oh God, so good.
Yeah, and then just, I mean, I don't know if you saw the interview of Matt talking about that moment and about walking off the field with his kids and what it made, like that was the one and only time that his kids had ever actually gotten to be on the field at the end of a game like that, and how much it meant to him. So yeah, definitely a cool, very, very cool moment for sure. And I don't think there was a wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer there.
There's no wrong answer with any of these. They're all great.
I have to crown a winner of this, so one of you is going to be wrong. So I hate to break up your party.
Shit. Okay.
Well, one of you is going to be wrong. And obviously it's coming down to the last one. You both picked Sean Alexander in the first one. Great choice. You both picked Matt Hasselbeck. You both picked Hasselbeck saying we want the ball and we're going to score. So it's coming down to the Beast Quake versus the Sherman tip. So being the non-Seahawks fan here, I get to use my own bias opinion on this. And I also, too, have watched the Beast Quake mode at least 50 times just as a pure football fan. I don't think I went back to watch the Richard Sherman tip. I don't think they caused an earthquake on the Richard Sherman tip. I also don't think there's the perfect, and I mean perfect, play call of Mike Mayock. Like when you were talking about getting goosebumps about the moments, every single time I listen to Mike Mayock's commentary on that run, I legit get goosebumps, and not being a Seahawks fan. So because of that, Peter, you are the winner of the third down segment. And
let's go, baby. Awesome, I'll take it. Love it. Go Hawks.
Yeah, I had a feeling because as soon as Peter started talking about the Mike Mayock get off me, a light bulb went off. Like, oh yeah, that's like one of Steve's all-time favorite sound bites. Like not just like Ravens aside, like all-time football sound bites. That's one of Steve's favorites.
It's just so good. Like it's just
so good.
Everything that moment had, just like from a pure football standpoint, like we didn't know there was earthquakes going off or anything like that, but Peter, you're right. The whole commentary leading up to that game was like, this is such a joke. Why are like the Golden Boy Saints, like why do they have to travel to Seattle to play this nothing Seahawks team? And that was like what the Seahawks were, like this rough tumble, like I'm going to put my fist in your face type team. And like that moment, like basically embodied the entire thing. And oh yeah, I still have goosebumps just talking about that, because it's just like I think that's the best run maybe in NFL history, to be honest.
I don't know how you beat that. I if there's any game that I'd give so much up for, to be able to go back in time and experience it in the stadium, it would have been that. That would have been just I would have loved to have heard the roar. I don't even know if we had. I know like the Chiefs have like come up and done a official one it was being recorded loudest roar ones. I think it'd be hard pressed to find. I think we would have destroyed that record. I think we did. It just wasn't being recorded, unfortunately, for the loudest cheer ever recorded at a sports stadium for that play. I can't picture other play infusing so much emotion and energy into a fan base than that. I just can't.
I mean, it was recorded. If we're being totally transparent, it was recorded, but it was recorded on the Richter scale, not like.
Oh, I know, but not for decibels. They didn't get that.
Like that is the fact that it showed up on the Richter scale is enough to tell you that would have blown whatever record the Chiefs currently have like completely out of the water.
It would have been nuts. It would have been nuts. And what's funny too is I remember, I don't know when I heard this kind of recently, I think apparently we completely misblocked that play. It was a complete breakdown on the blocking scheme. It was a mess up, and still though that play occurred. And I was like,
which
damn.
Is hilarious, because then they ran Beast Quake 2.0 against Arizona.
Yes. Oh, right? God, I remember that play too.
Yeah, and he ended up the exact same way. And I
got I was on a layover. Yeah, I forgot where I was at, but I remember I'd ordered Domino's pizza. I was on a layover. I'm like, all right, I think it was Thursday Night Football or something.
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. And I ordered Domino's pizza, and I was eating my pizza as he was doing that. I was going crazy. It was great.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I want some more of those plays back. I want to experience that again. I miss that kind of feeling.
Oh. Big time. I like the Russell Wilson moon balls are fun to watch.
Yeah.
But they're not those big playoff moments.
Yep. No, we'll get them back. It'll come. It'll come.
We're just over the hour marker here now, so we appreciate you taking some time out to chat with us and giving us over an hour of your time here. We want to give you a little time here at the very end, just as like we call it shameless plug. So, what are you up to recently? Anything on the go for you?
Yeah, I so right now just flying a bunch, for flying for United and promoting my book. Honestly, that's the biggest thing right now. If any of you guys are interested, I actually just did a Zoom. So if you guys can see this is my new book, The Adventures of Pilot Pete. fortunately, nothing really Seahawk related in this one, but just, my first love story with aviation, obviously keeping it on the love theme from the whole show, Bachelor. And if you guys interested, you can get a signed copy at from my Instagram. I have a link up on my bio, or theadventuresofpilotpete.com. Get yourself a copy there. It's just a great book, hopefully to inspire, children to chase their dreams. Other than that, yeah, if you guys, I want to start talking more Seahawks stuff. Love to have you guys on too for my roommate and I's podcast, Bachelors in the City. It's not really Seahawks themed, just kind of living in the city type thing. So if you guys are a fan of the show, maybe you'll enjoy that. But those are really the two big things, projects that I have going on. And but this is the stuff I love, man. I could talk Seahawks all day. I love it. I love it so much. I wish I was at the game right now. It was playing in LA. If it didn't get changed, but yeah, that's about it.
Nice. I always give you the last words here, Chris. So again, I don't want you to cry.
I just want to say, Peter, thank you again for coming on. Like we were discussing before we went live here, working around 3 different schedules. It was a lot of back and forth, but I'm glad we were able to make it work here. It was a lot of fun talking Seahawks with you, and I'm happy to chat Seahawks with you. Whenever you want, we're always happy to welcome you back. And you know where to find me on Instagram as well. I run the Instagram account, obviously. So we'll always chat Seahawks over there as well. Thank you for letting me know where to find your book. My wife was asking me, she's like, make sure you ask him where to find his book. She's like, I want to get a copy. So I'll be sure to jump online and order a copy I've got, you saw my 7-year-old. I've got a 4-year-old little boy as well upstairs. You may have heard his baby elephant steps running around.
Love it.
And I will, maybe I will start training for that New York City marathon, and we'll be in touch about that as well. So
yeah, man.
Otherwise,
absolutely.
Everyone, thank you everyone else for tuning in, listening to the live stream. It will be available in its podcast format. I think tomorrow we'll probably drop it wherever you listen to your podcasts. We are the Ballhawks Podcast. We're part of the Dean Blundell Network. You can find us on social media at ballhawks_pod. And as I end every episode, guys, go Hawks.
Go Hawks, baby. Let's go.